there's some people in chat who still like may not know who you are. Oh my God.
If you don't know, let's just say you need this to really get into the Edit 7 mindset.
Dude, if you don't know what he's holding up right now, then you're part of the people that need to know what's going on.
Intro, it's fine.
No, I was fully muted. It was such a good intro. God.
Just run it again. Run it from the top.
Okay, one more time from the top. Dude, I was a good streamer and muted our pre-interview convo, and then I forgot to go live. It's classic.
Am I muted? No, I'm not.
No, you're good. You're good. It's all me. Okay, here we go. All right, everybody, welcome in. Today, I get to interview an absolute Kendama legend. He's actually the godfather of American Kendama. That's what I consider him. He taught me everything I know. I'm stoked to call him a friend. He has led me on some of the scariest climbs of my whole entire life. I've been on the brink of death with this dude, so I'm very excited to finally have you on the show and talk to you. The one, the only, Mr. Colin Sander, dude. What's up?
What up? Thanks for having me, Matt. Super stoked.
Oh, dude, I'm really glad to have you. It's one of these things where we're just such homies and talk here and there that I don't ever try to like take your time for this. But when I started to like think about who do I actually want to interview, like if I actually want to have people on to talk to and, you know, really get into it with, like, you're on the top of that list for me because we don't ever talk in that way. It's usually about stupid stuff that we did last weekend or
we can communicate via like OG Dama ESP, so we just know we just know the wavelength we're on. But yeah, we've definitely been through some legendary stories and just awesome days together and super late nights for sure.
Dude, well, and so let's just start from the beginning for people who don't know you, because I'm always surprised every time I put on Edit 7, which is like 3 times a year on my stream probably. We go back and recount where we all started and why we're all here. And there's some people in chat who still like may not know who you are. Oh my God.
If you don't know, let's just say you need this to really get into the Edit 7 mindset.
Dude, if you don't know what he's holding up right now, then you're part of the people that need to know what's going on, because I mean, that's the shirt you grinded in in some of the most iconic scenes on that beach in front of all those freaking colored garage doors, man. Like it's something that a lot of people in this chat can't erase from their memory. But start from the beginning real quick.
Most of the scene now is kind of like, oh wait, did that come out 16 years ago? Wait, like
was that filmed in 720 still? Or?
I was like 3 years old when that dropped. Like
for real though, bro, for real. Like I was kicking it with B Meyer yesterday, and he's like what 26 or 7 now, and I met him when he was 13. So it is 13 years. Like someone.
It does feel like time's really accelerating for like the vintage players, but like you know, it's cool to see like you and Weens and people starting to have families and, you know, kind of getting to that, like people have their own kids now and the next generation and stuff, but it's still like the fun and that sort of like new discovery you can find in Kendama. It's still just like keeps applying like generation through generation, and all the players can like develop their own styles or like just have fun with like getting their progression up, and you know, so it's kind of cool that the scene kind of like recycles every, you know, 3, 4, 5 years, and you know, there's always new talent coming up. And
well, you've seen that in skating probably forever too, right? Like skaters who just like Frankie, even, who like now has a family but still has a brand now and does his own thing, has his own skates. And you find new lanes when you become older in an industry that you love, right? It's a little bit different. And I mean, that's something we can touch on with you, obviously, as someone who like was doing tricks when I started that I thought were literally impossible. I thought you were like cheating,
and they kind of were with how bad the shapes were in the paint and like how egged the Tamas were. Like they were harder back then, like slightly.
Yeah. Well, so let's I keep saying let's go back. Let's say back then. What is back then? When did Colin Sanders start playing Kendama? How did you find your first Kendama? Is probably the best question. Like, what was your introduction point?
Yeah. I should probably also shout out to the Dama Nerds, because I did do a super deep dive full podcast with them. So if anyone wants to really listen to the full story, you can hit the Dama Nerds podcast. Basically, I think Sweets and I both started around probably like 07, 08, I want to say 06, 07.
No,
Or
you were way before me. I didn't start till like 09, 2010.
okay, yeah. I think I was 2000 because I graduated high school in 2005. Then it was so freshman year would have been 06. 07 would have been sophomore year, which I think is when basically found kendama.
Sophomore year.
Yeah, 2007. I
And
think
where'd you go to
sophomore year
school?
of college. I went to this school called Chapman University that was in Orange County, California. I was studying film production, but I actually found kendama through skiing because in one of the ski videos back in the day, they were touring in Japan, so they would just like sort of appear, in these snow huts, and it was just part of the culture. So the free skiers that did go to Japan encountered kendama. And there's this famous guy, JP Auclair, who was like a pro skier. He basically makes the first Dama edit even before I made a Dama edit in a like 2006 ski video. But then anyone that was a blader or a skier that saw that was like, just like,
That's the video
what is
I
that
saw,
toy?
bro.
Session it.
Yeah, I
So
saw
yeah,
that
I
in
saw it,
08 or
through
09,
that.
I think. Yeah. I can't
Yeah.
believe your story's the same as mine. That's actually messed up. Like, you just told the story the same
Yeah.
way I tell people how I saw it. Like, it was.
And that kind of shows, I mean, now it's just so different now with just like cell phones and social media and like stuff spreads, people get exposed to it, which is great. But back then it was like coming through very niche channels of like this once a year video, and it was like in the bonus extras, and people were like, oh, what is that?
Was
And
yours a
then Jiro-
VHS? Was yours a VHS you watched?
I feel like we had DVD on that.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a
maybe.
DVD, but it was probably during the era when you could like purchase both.
Yeah, maybe.
I think it was like Matchstick Productions. I feel like they're
Yes,
still
it
around.
was. You're totally right. It was.
But anyway, so found our first Dama. We were working in this ski shop, and then we ordered. Somehow one of the guys figured out how to order a case from Japan, and it was going to come over on a boat, and it was a bunch of TKs, and you got 24. So like, and I think it was like 8 red, 8 black,
8
4
blue,
4 wood,
natty,
whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the only colors we had, bro, when it was the beginning. That was black, blue, red, natty. Choose. That was my option too. Was like decide, and I was hardcore, so black it was. But then when you realize how hard black actually is for kendama, you're like, okay, bad first choice, but we move forward, Yeah, yours is your videos in your ski place are like what resonated with me the most, because I found, well, what I found was Edit 7. Like, that was the thing that YouTube pushed when I first started. Like, no matter what, you were one of the first videos close to like the dude in the van video. Like, that was like the second thing I saw was you, and you were doing like when you did Spacewalk to Lunar or something like that. I was like, well, this is impossible. I almost gave up at that point, thinking like I already missed the boat, that this dude already had unlocked and figured out what was going on. And then when I got it, I felt even crazier, because like I thought watching these videos would like make it, oh, like I get it now, whatever. But then you get it and you're still like, oh God, I still have so much practice to do. And like, so you got your first case and you were working at this ski place, and did you ever think about like selling them or doing anything like that? Like, or was that always were you always just the player?
Well, at the same time, I was definitely more on the player side and less in the like, let's build this culture or let's launch something or whatever. I definitely understood that it could get popular, but around the same time that ski film was coming out, I think Jeremy Stevenson, the Kendama USA founder, he had an article in a blading magazine with this famous like stack of kendamas, and it mentioned that some of the Japanese rollerbladers were playing it, and so he kind of was pushing it a little through the rollerblade culture. And but eventually how I really got involved in like promoting it in Kendama USA was basically Jeremy DM'd me on YouTube and was like, hey, I see these videos, this is crazy because you're also a rollerblader, like I see you're in like film and video, would you be down to like help, promote this or whatever? And it was interesting because I actually already knew who Jeremy was just because of rollerblading.
Dang, crazy.
Yeah, so I like not super closely, but I'd seen him in the background of a few photos, or like seen him in the BTS video from some skate comps, and he was, you know, shooting photos for some of the pro bladers like around Atlanta. And, you know, I just kind of like knew that he was someone who was really like an authentic part of the blading scene. So I just immediately was like, yeah, let's, you know, do something.
Yeah. Yeah, and so you had started studying video at school. Like that's what you were going to school for, was like video production essentially.
Yeah, and my older brother and I actually we got to take these like TV production elective classes in high school. So if you can get in like a media arts class or do some media stuff in high school, there's so much available with that now, and you can
Yeah.
kind of just self-teach yourself. But like we were making skate videos on like early, you know, mini DV and like high 8 camcorders, even back to like ninth, 10th grade.
Yeah.
Um, and you would have to, in those original edits, you would have to go out and shoot, you know, your clip. You'd have to come home, then you'd have to play back the clip and like record it onto, well, at first you had to record it to like a VHS. So we would then get like all the A sides on a VHS, and then my brother would take it in the TV production place, and he would play back the clips, and then there'd be like a master receiver where it'd be like, okay, first clip. And so you had to lay out the clips, then you would paste the music on after, but you basically got like one edit to like,
no way.
and you would have to live play. So you'd live play a tape, and then you'd wait for like the start and then record it, and like,
wow, that's so extreme.
It's so extreme. And then eventually we got like digital, but you know, it was like 240 pixels and like the chunkiest, like, and we would play back in slow-mo when we captured the footage.
Yeah.
Because on mini DV you couldn't just dump it into your computer.
Oh, sure.
You know. So we'd play it back and we'd play it in slow-mo, capture it, and then like speed up to 2x. So we'd get a few more frames because it was just like so chunky.
No way.
But yeah, some of those edits are all still there on this website. I'll throw the website up in the chat. There's a couple of like super old school blade edits and stuff, but people would probably just have a fun time clicking around in the old skate crew website, basically.
Yes, dude. I mean, that's kind of part of this. After we're done with the interview, usually we do is go watch like some of your favorite clips that you mentioned like during the interview, because I watch Edit 7. We've watched it a million times. I don't need to watch that again. I'd love to talk about it for a second, but like I'd also love to know some other videos like that are like, I mean, yeah, let's just talk about it. Edit 7, bro. I mean, it still is talked about today, and I will never let it die. But for many, many years, it was like the epitome of what an edit should be. I think you led the groundwork for like, you know, Matt Ballard Edit 1 or whoever Edit 1. I pulled a random name, but like the way you did it, the way in which you interact with your surroundings, and the difficulty of your tricks and the combos that you did, like there was so much in one edit to like take from, and as a person who didn't know what the F was going on, it was like almost overwhelming. But like you showed us the way in a way I think that like Ben Harold did maybe with Fringe Case. Like you were the person who were like, here everyone, kendama isn't just this thing in Japan that you think it is. Here's what it can be if you want it to be. And I think that's maybe what I took from it and what inspired me to create edits and stuff.
You're definitely onto something there with like, I wanted to have a good breadth of like the play styles that it covered, and I wanted to really feel like a like full section. And because I had made a few different edits before, I kind of knew like I had this structure where it was like, okay, you first want to start with just some like cup flow, some chill jamming, just so as people are figuring it out too, they're like, okay, this is like baseline stuff. Then you get into maybe some more advanced stuff with Ken flips or jumping sticks or whatever. Then I wanted to always have like an aerials section, or you know, so many different names now, but basically anything where you launch it, the spacewalks, moon circles, and then the end would be kind of like the enders. That was either like really techy or just like reach tricks where you're like, I don't know if I'm even gonna hit this, but I'll just like try something crazy. But I will say I got a lot of my inspiration from this OG website called Japanese Super Tricks, and it was like, have you heard of that?
I don't know. No, I have to write it down immediately.
It still exists, but it was called like supertricks.jp, and it was like all in Japanese, and it basically just had blue links to just single tricks. But it was like 200, 300 tricks, and I think the player who was in that other viral video behind the truck, that apparently was like a champion at some point.
Yep.
He had a bunch of tricks in there. There were, I think like, there were a few familiar faces back then that were like,
Yeah.
okay, it was people doing like spacewalk to like one turn, like house or something, or like they would do moon circle to, like
Handle stall or
moon circle to handle stall.
or ring stall,
And
yeah.
like these clips are from like.
And what year was this? You were
05.
watching this? Yeah, you're watching this
I
in
was watching this like
07,
08. So they were like two or
Damn.
3 years back. But to be fair, I like made sure in Edit 7 I didn't like specifically directly copy any of those tricks, but I also did some new stuff and just use that for inspiration of like, oh, you can like toss it and then trade hands, or like do something instantaneous or.
But that's the
whatever.
point of YouTube.
So,
that's the point of putting videos on the internet, though. Like, I think, right, is that you hope someone sees it and either tries it or does a variant of it. Because, yeah, when I see Sweet Special variants, I'm like, that's sick. That's super cool that you took it to a new level. And I didn't know that website existed. That's so sick. So, but because you didn't have YouTube, like, that's the other thing. Because one of my questions was your inspiration to do any of this. Because there had to have been almost literally nothing when you went to type it into Google. When you found it for the first time, right? Like when you typed Kendama, and you couldn't have found almost anything.
Right. And I think, I don't even know if I did search it before or if it was kind of just a natural, like, because we were making skate videos, we were making rollerblading videos, skiing videos. I was starting to do stuff for school. We were using different like video upload accounts, and there was like, it was kind of early when YouTube wasn't so dominant. So there were kind of like a few different services, but like, I was already putting out some skate stuff on YouTube, and usually they'd just be like our skate videos that we made on VHS or DVD and kind of like sold locally and promoted, and then we just like put them out 6 months later, or put out just the sections individually. But yeah, so it was kind of just like ended up being like bonus sections from all the other stuff we were filming. But then, I made the first one definitely inspired by the JP Eau Claire section where there's like no music. It's just kind of like the tricks.
Yeah.
And then I got to edit 2 and 3. I think edit 2, I put sort of like this J-pop inspired like music. And then 3 was like getting a little more advanced. And then in my edit 4, which was probably like 2 years into it or something, was when Jeremy had already launched the company. He basically gave all the pro players gold Mugans and said, any media that, if you're on the pro team and any media you do or any clips you get, try to get them on this gold Dama.
Yeah.
And he basically said we're only going to be playing golds if you're like pro.
Yeah.
We're like, all right, whatever. They were like, they're kind of sick. Little did we know later they were like super rare, and like everyone chewed through like 2-3 gold Mugans, and then just was like, and then we're like, yo, we need a restock. And Jeremy's like, dude, yeah, you can't get the golds anymore. I'm like, what? I thought that's all we were playing. He's like, yeah, I don't know. It's just, they don't exist anymore. Like,
little do we know the story that's unfolding in Japan, on the backside of that Kazuma is essentially leaving the JKA, never to make them ever again. Like, essentially, at that point, like, gold was one of the last colors he made before he dipped set. So, like, also why it was a super, super legendary color, because he didn't do much more after that. And so the timing is just unreal, because it had to have been one of the best JKA Damas you had played to date, especially compared to a TK and stuff. You must have been like, well, why didn't we have these before? Why you been giving us these other Damas?
I think some of the Tamas were cherry.
Yeah, they were.
The gold
yeah, there was the first gen.
But some of them were cherry, and I feel like something about the Kens too. Either the sourcing or the type of birch. I think they were all birch, but they were just like a little softer and a little like darker. And I don't know if maybe he hand selected the wood batch to be like, okay, these are gonna be the denser, darker ones that I put with like the gold Tamas.
He probably did.
Yeah. So, but
knowing
some of the trophies that Kazuma has made now and the newer stuff is like, I mean, it's like works of art, and he's really taken stuff to another level, and all the interlocking pieces, and I mean,
that last one he did with the bottom cup with all the inlaid wood, it's like, how much time can you spend on one kendama? But like, he loves it just like us. So he started at making gold balls, and now he's like, dude, he has to up his game. He feels as like a woodworker and a kendama lover. He's like, I got to put out something nasty, dude. And I've always said, dude, if I didn't own Sweets Kendamas, I would play Mugans. Like, I've said that forever. They are such a good Dama. And if you want someone who cares about every single piece of wood that's being turned in their factory, Kazuma is like for sure he matched up those gold Damas with the right wood that was just as dark as the cherry on the Tama on the inside. Like,
and I feel like there was the funny thing about that was like, I feel like him coming back was also like not inspired by, but in part because like I kind of was like poking fun at him in the one edit and like
yeah,
it was like just like friendly, but like Kendama history stuff. But then he came back, and obviously he was destined to come back and is always going to keep doing woodworking. He's super amazing. But like, I think those first like Musos or whatever that came back, everyone was like, oh my God. And they were really well made. The shape was like kind of funky, but it was so cool just as like a Dama community to be like, oh my God, we've revived this. Like,
yeah, dude. We were on the trip where we got to meet the dude.
And then we had the screw-on tips for some of them, which was like kind of sick actually, and still, know.
That was what he did on the first batch. Or no, the first one was wooden. The next one had the tips, right? Like, because we flew to Japan for the Muso tour in 2013. It was my first time to Japan, I'm pretty sure. And you had been there once or twice before for something else. But I remember you kind of being my guide through like the 7-Elevens and through the first, because that was my only time I was the first timer, because after that I was in charge of like 10 kids every time I went. But like it was such a cool, like being invited by Kazuma first off to go on that trip was so cool. But then to be on that trip, I was the only Sweets dude. There was only Kusa legends like surrounding me, so it was like it was a weird trip for me. But you made me feel super into it because you treated me just like a homie or whatever. But we had that was a really fun trip.
Yeah, that was a really fun trip too, because I don't think there was any like contest or like specific event. It was just about like creating media and like promoting the new thing, and he was going to gift them to us. So there was kind of like no heavy itinerary. Whereas now, if you're like taking the team or you're going to KWC, it's like it's basically like a hard work trip with like hotel bookings and like all the emails, and maybe you're judging stuff for like moving people around and the transportation. It's crazy, but it's a special week if you go over there to compete, or like it's really awesome to go over there.
Oh, dude, and I mean. Yeah, so we didn't go there knowing we were going to be competing, but it turns out they were testing out KWC essentially on us. We went in and we ended up camping in the woods, which I think I knew was happening. But again, I was so stoked about going, I really didn't read. I was just like, I'm going to Japan, it's gonna be sick. And then we drive 3.5 hours north to some cabin in the woods, and they're like, yeah, so after they give us tons of sake and food, they're like, all right, now it's time to compete in this thing we got. Here's some sheets. Start figuring out what tricks you want to do, and you're going to have all these rounds, and we're going to do games of Ken. And I looked at Colin, and I said, what is going on? Like, I don't think I'm going to do this. And then you kind of, like, talked me into doing it, essentially, because I was kind of out of it. And you were like, dude, let's just do it, see what happens. And, like, we did it, and I ended up winning the fucking thing in the very end. But it was because of you that I like actually did it, because you're just, I don't know how to.
I remember that. I feel like I lost so early that I just like went outside and like went hiking or something, and then like an hour later you're like, I won, bro. I'm like, oh damn.
Dude, well, you're just, for people who don't know you as a friend like I do, that's kind of one of your qualities, I think, that a lot of people know, is you have a good way of talking people into things in the best way. And I think that's multiple faceted in life, but also as a kendama filmer, like there is no better kendama filmer in the world than you, because when a lot of people like are like, oh, my shoulder's a little tired, can we take a break? Or like you're getting these vibes where you're taking someone's time. Colin is the antithesis of the opposite of that, where he is like, come on, dude, keep the grind going. Oh, your legs are looking good. That one was close. Like, it's almost like he has like a, it's not every time, but
even in the other different activities I have and stuff, I've been like described or declared an overstoker at times. And I'm just like, I am pretty hyped. I'm very positive, and like, positivity definitely has its benefits, and I lean much towards sort of the positive side in just kind of how I am. But like, you know, sometimes other stuff is needed, but a lot of times with whether it's, you know, pursuing like a dominatrix or doing your passions and stuff, then it's good to like be in that mindset. If you're like, look, this is supposed to be fun. But then, you know, as a filmer and someone who does play, I feel like I have a good feel for like I can just see what's going on where it's like, okay, maybe someone's arm is tired, or like maybe they need to loft that like second part of the trick more, or like helping see through like, oh, maybe a shortcoming here, or like, do we need to adjust this ender because it's not hittable, or do you need to like push harder, or do you just need someone to like be quiet for like 8-9 minutes? Should we just set up a tripod and let you grind because this is like a really high level trick that like even having a filmer can throw it off. You might just need like 20 minutes to like really zone in.
Yeah.
Um,
True,
but
spoken
yeah,
like
you
a
know,
true kendama filmer, dude. Like you're
yeah, and it's cool to see how good, like, you know, I was just in Red Rocks with the Kusa team briefly. They're shooting some cool video stuff over there, so I came out for a day, and like yeah, Zach and Benny, like even just doing iPhone stuff in verticals, like Zach's so tapped in and he's really taken it like to the next level. But like I can still go out there and try to like hold my own and facilitate, but really the more you have like that comprehension of what those tricks are currently, the easier it is to sort of like frame it perfectly and like work with the players. And you know, so you know, whether that's like Coop for you guys or, you know, anyone, if you are going to have like a live filmer, it's just, yeah, people that can trace the tricks or like follow what's happening, they'll be able to keep like a smoother composition on it.
Yeah. Well, and just
like,
with
you know,
college,
it's not just about filming, but it is awesome to get like that really perfect capture and like, you know,
yeah,
those things that turn into just like awesome standalone tricks. And yeah,
I mean, you filmed so many kendama players, so many places. I'm gonna ask you super hard trick. Is there like one that stands out? Is there like a film day or like a film session with the squad?
yeah.
Or okay,
Well,
what is it?
There's two like grinder sessions that, you know, and we wouldn't grind as hard like in this day and age. And now, and you also realize it's like, okay, maybe after like 30-40 minutes your legs there's no way you even have like pop.
Yeah, exactly.
But even, you know, you could do 20 minutes, take a break, 20 minutes, take a break, 20, like if you're really grinding a trick. But maybe it's like, maybe you're just like developing that trick that day and like you need another couple weeks before you should actually film it.
Yep.
Like I usually try to get close or do a trick before you film it, because a lot of times it's tougher on film, you know, at least get to like the last thing, whatever.
If you like your filmer, that's what you do.
Yeah, but two really memorable sessions. The first one was like filming for my edit 3. I don't even know exactly what tricks we were filming, but we were in some like downstairs like communal room, like meeting room, board room kind of thing, and we just like moved the chairs out of the way, are shooting against this wall. There's like 4 of us playing. Everyone's taking like 20-30 minutes to try super hard tricks. We're chasing stuff. This is my edit 3, so I've seen some like positive feedback. So I'm like, all right, we need to like nail this edit.
Yeah.
And like we basically started at like 10 p.m., 9:30 p.m. or something, and it's like 1:30. We're like, should we grind? Should we not grind? It's like 2:30 a.m. Then like my other roommate's stepping in, and like basically next thing you know it's like almost light outside, and it's like 4:45, and we're like, yo, I think we just filmed through like the entire night, like just rotating, grinding tricks, and like we did get a bunch of stuff, and some of them are in the edit 3, but it was just one of those funny like college nights of just like being ridiculous and staying up all night, but like you know, it was pretty fun. But we didn't even realize it. We're like, oh, it's probably like 1-2 a.m. We're like, oh my god, it's 4:15.
You just get in the grind trying to hit what, a lighthouse flip probably at that time or something. Like spend an hour and a half trying to get the pin on a lighthouse flip, you know. But
but then the other super memorable session was on that first Kendama USA trip in Japan. We were filming in this room that was like one of the hostels, and had the bamboo flooring and everything, and Alex Smith was basically trying moon circle to late Ken flip to spike, and it was like he was just struggling with, he was fighting it, it was smacking his hand, you know, when you do, or not moon circle, like goon circle, and it hits your hand, and he's like trying it for like 45 minutes, 50 minutes, just slamming it, whatever. Finally gets like we all had rotated in, landed all of our tricks, so he was still like the last one up. Same thing, it's getting to be like midnight, 1 a.m., and we're like, all right, when do we just cut Smith off? And like he'd be like, all right, 10 more minutes, 10 more minutes, and like he finally got it, and we were glad we stuck it out for him. But it was like an awesome part of the video, and
yeah,
that night was memorable because at the end it was like me and Zach and Turner just like slumped up against a wall in Japan. It's like 2:30 a.m. We're like, Smith, you got it, you got it. And then he did get it, and we all just like freaked out, and yeah, it was crazy.
Oh no, that's so cool, man. It's cool getting to be on both sides. And back in the day, dude, like it felt like with all the YouTube stuff, with YouTube being the big reason and team edits, like Kendama USA's YouTube was the YouTube for a very long time, and you were like the dude facilitating that for a minute. Like, what was it like to like be making 100,000K videos in the beginning? Like, was that like because that was a big deal. Like I was, I hate to keep saying that I was looking up to you so much, but like I was chasing your YouTube since the day I started, and you guys had like the early algorithm you had figured out, like for sure, and did you know that you had that figured out? Were you like doing videos when you went on trips, like to the same way to try to recreate stuff? Or
I think I definitely like I tried to do like the simple things right in terms of like making the titles, making everything very searchable. I think the algorithm was way more straightforward back then, but also there was just so much less like media content, whatever. It's just such like the explosion in the years after that like kind of mellowed things out so much. But I do feel like at the beginning a lot of the things on YouTube were like BMX or skate or like things that didn't have a broadcast thing, like the NFL, the NBA is not going to be on YouTube. It's going to be like someone's like sporting thing that they film themselves, or some personal video or whatever. So I think a lot of that early on was just there wasn't as much out there, but we definitely did try to make it engaging, use the title optimization and everything to make sure it would at least like appear if people search Kendama and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think most of it was just it being super early YouTube days, but we did really like appreciate how many eyeballs some of those were getting, and we're like, oh damn, this is actually really crazy. But it's hard to know how much of that is the true core Kendama community, and back then was just like the general internet.
Yeah.
Whereas now, even though things don't get seen as much, it's very like the people that really care about it are watching it, and that's kind of like just as good. Yeah. But it is crazy. Some of the videos that just have like 500K views or like 700, it's just kind of like, whoa, what? But a lot of it like builds up over time, and know.
No, I get it. I think the style you filmed in too. Like I go back and look at some of my earlier videos, and you can just tell the difference. Like you were like when you tell me the story about the VHS tape stuff you did. Like I did a tenth of that. You know what I'm saying? Like I dabbled in those things, but didn't ever go as hard. And I think you can tell when you see my first YouTube videos. I was like, here's the video. I more want you to know the information than what it looks like. But your first videos, even from the jump, where you were trying to tell a story, you were trying to have an aesthetic, and I always appreciated that and thought that was super cool. So, do you still, for people who don't know, do you still do film today? Like, do you still?
Yeah. So I am basically a freelance director of photography, cinematographer, camera operator. I do some video directing, some shooting, editing, but basically, I'm still in film production. I have a production company that I'm involved with my older brother and my dad, and we make feature films. But I'm basically a cinematographer, camera operator, and a director. But I am hoping to make some more feature films and do some screenwriting and directing. But I'm still in video production now. And I hop in and shoot for Kendama USA like here and there, or friends that kind of ask me to help out with a project. Like I still will film for Kendama a little bit here and there, but I did end up doing it professionally, and it's pretty fun. It's always an adventure. I'm definitely always trying to improve and make progress in that world, but it's been good for this last like 10-15 years.
Yeah, it's a job, right? Still, just like everyone else, you gotta pay them bills, So no, that's super chill.
But it's cool to see people. It's cool to see people taking it further and doing their own thing with it. Like Coop obviously has made some incredible videos, and even Ballard is like a big time DP. He does music videos and short films, features, or some really high level work.
I'm gonna have him on here soon because I've been reconnecting with him again. I saw him at one of the events recently, and it's funny how just being like, oh, I saw you in Vancouver too.
There's also Logan Tosta is basically doing video at University of Oregon. If you've seen any of the stuff that's on his page, he's doing some really sick social videos for their athletic team. And we have Mags doing video stuff at Kusa, but his vibe is very clean. And I know he'll go on to either, like Ballard, do cinematography or do video directing, do stuff like Sleep as well.
I wonder who inspired all of them. Dude. It's very sick. It's very sick. Well, with Kendama, I want to get into just Kendama talk for a second as a player, because we talk about all these different sides of the coin, being a pro, people like me are discouraged now by how many taps there are and by how many juggles and how many extreme things there are that someone like me who's been trying to keep, I feel like I lose that edge a smidge, even though I'm like 28th on Kendamanomics. But anyways, when did you feel that earlier? Like, when did you feel that? Because I know at some point you just like all of us, Kendama kind of just takes a side seat when you get to a certain age, when you start getting married, have to pay real bills, certain things like that. Like, do you remember what time frame that was and what tricks were like pissing you off as a player who's like, well, I'll see you later, Kendama?
Yeah, definitely. Even from the very beginning, there was sort of like a healthy competition element that is nice. And like Christian Frazier was one of the people I would go back and forth with on Facebook, just DMing, talking about tricks we were doing. And then Zach Yord was the other person who was kind of like,
well, he's from your hometown, right?
He'd do like a one-up, or he'd hit like a double lunar flip like a month after I hit a lunar flip, and I'm like, that's not possible. And Frazier was doing stuff, and we'd all be racing to be like, is there like a quad J stick? Could you do a trip whirly or whatever? Whatever it is, trip lighthouse flip probably had never even been done at that point.
Yep.
So I think it's fun to have some of the healthy competition, but it's then it was just like friends, and now the level is super high and it can be intimidating. So I think it's better from the get-go for people to be like, you're in it for the experience of playing it and pushing yourself, and like, what is a high level trick for you?
That's the key.
If you are someone who's like going to a competitive level, just accept that, like, okay, you either have some natural talent, or you really want to pursue like sort of like a competition side with it, which is totally awesome and fun. But the level is so high now, it's better. I feel like it's a little better for everyone to just be like, develop your own play style, have fun with it. But realistically, these pros are like basically like Olympic level. Like, you need full life dedication, or it's not like, you can't quite get there unless you really build up that feel and just like throw your whole like passion into it.
Yeah. No, it is, and it's so that's early on for you. I mean, but considering you started playing in 2005 though, but you started in 2005, so it's like that was still 8, 9, 10 years after you started. Like,
yeah. Well, then so even at the beginning, well, also funny, the thing you posted on IG, I was like, wait, did I just do a dub tap? And like, I'm like, I think Sweets just made, because I thought of that as like a lighthouse trick.
Oh,
but then I was like, it was kind of like a swing up dub tap to lighthouse.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh damn, I forgot I even did like a dub tap back then. I should have like been doing more after that. Like,
yeah, dude. Did you see the photo I posted of us from 2011?
Dude, yes, that was legendary.
Christian texted me. He's like, I remember you going up to introduce yourself to Colin because you were so nervous. And I was like, no way, dude. Like, that was literally the moment where, like, I mean, I took a photo with you. Like, I didn't just take photos with everyone that day. That's like, it was like one of those. And do you want to know?
This was a big deal. You had to like whip out your BlackBerry, give it to someone else.
I had an iPhone 3, bro. I had the iPhone 3. I think it had a camera. No, it definitely did. But It's the oldest photo on my phone because through all my phones and through all my iCloud shit, I've saved that motherfucker. So it's at the very top. So when I went to go search for it today, I was like, that'll be easy to repost. And I had a mustache too. I got a way nicer mustache now, but it was just like today is obviously a big nostalgia bomb because we were in it together, you know, from the jump. It's like when I talked to Jake, it's the same kind of vibe. Like there's not a lot of us who started Kendama and went through this same kind of river of ups and downs that have got us to 2023 where we're at. I mean, like, let's not talk about like some of the earlier Roots tours and stuff like that. I think you were part of one of the first ones, or you joined on multiple stops of some of those early Kusa tours in the van, dude. Like, you know,
those were super fun.
What was it like having, you know, hundreds of kids waiting at a skate park for you, chanting your name when you get out of a van? Like, that's what it used to be in 2014, 13. It was a
vibe. It was a vibe back then. I feel like it was kind of also sort of at the tail end of this era of like, not everyone had smartphones still at that point, and like people were very keen on just like going to an event, seeing whatever was like happening in town. There was like a little bit more of like sort of like an authentic like ground level, like, oh, people will just go to things, and like,
yes,
you know, now everyone, like, you have a million different things available to you, everyone's busy, like it's hard to motivate to get like these types of things to happen. But I feel like it was kind of a sweet spot for that. But also, since Kendama was so young, it was like a natural time that like going out and doing some promotion and trying to hype it would work, because it's like, okay, people are skating, skateboarding, scootering, kids are out there. This totally fits in with the action sports world and everything. Let's just like, you know, build some hype and see what happens. But yeah, that trip was crazy because, yeah, 2 different trips, both amazing, kind of organized by Jake Weens.
You were on both of them though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was on both. I think I maybe left early from the first one, but the second one, me and Zach like brought the van up from San Diego at the very start. But yeah, that was super wild. But I remember in Sacramento, like meeting, I think, you know, so that was like Dave's stop. We meet like Logan there. Then when we were going through Portland, I forget if it was the first KG Roots or the second KG Roots, I basically met Wyatt Bray there, and he was like one of the attendees, and he was like destroying the pro team with just like Trick standing there. And I was like, guys, we need to sponsor this person. Or like, you would see people at the event. Like, I think we met Haley.
I was just going to say, you had to have met a few of the teammates through that process.
Yeah, I don't know if Haley was already on the team or we just thought, like, let's try to get her on after that. But I think Haley just, like, came to the jam in Portland. And she was, like, flatlining. And, you know, we're like, oh, she's also, like, basically as good as our pros at just, like, you know, lighthouse flips, you know, whatever the chill grinder tricks were at the time.
Mm-hmm. No, man, it was crazy. I think the kids also just didn't have iPhones that were sick as they are now, right? Like, actually looking back on it, like 2012, we were ripping like iPhone 4s. Like, kid couldn't rip Fortnite on their phones just not yet, you know? They had to still play Dama and go do stuff. Like, but it was a different like vibe. And kids, just as the general thing, man, it's kind of like skating. Like, it's the older kids influence the younger ones, right? Eventually. And so we have a ton of older influencers, and we're getting more and more each day. And I think that trickles down eventually. And it always comes back to the kids. So there'll be another day when there'll be another Kusa Roots tour, I'm sure. But just like we've been talking, Kendama's ebbed and flows so far. Like, there's years when we've spent more time internationally than we have in the United States, because it's grown and travel, or it's just been so many different places, you know. So that's super crazy. So you love Kendama. Let's just learn about Colin the human for a second. Aside from Kendama, people may know that you are an extreme climber, dude. You are like one of the gnarliest like hiker climber dudes. If I get a text from you, it's usually of a photo like 12,000 feet up somewhere with an insane view. Like,
usually when Sweets texts me, he's like, hey, are you around tomorrow? I'll be like, bro, I'm on the side of a mountain.
I mean, you take it seriously, bro. Like, if you're not somewhere, you're planning the next thing. Like,
and there's definitely yeah, thanks for that hype up. I mean, I definitely think, I kind of, as I was closing my Kendama chapter, I kind of re-engaged with my like skiing and climbing influences.
Mm-hmm.
But even when I was younger, my dad started taking us rock climbing when we were maybe like 10, 11 years old. This is just back in Pennsylvania. So, I kind of got exposed to it when I was younger. And he even took us like to Yosemite when we were like 13, 14 with my family and like my siblings. And it wasn't like a climbing trip, but my dad had like bought some climbing gear, was into it. He was a skier. So I got a little bit of exposure to it, but then I didn't really re-engage with it until after college, when I kind of met my climbing mentor. And just being in Southern California, there's like a lot of climbing options and just mountains and wilderness, etc. So no matter what state you live in, going to a climbing gym can be super fun. It's a fun challenge. It's definitely a cool complementary pursuit with kendama because it's very much more like strength centric and like the legs or the walking if you're getting to the climbing or just getting out in nature. It's an awesome sport, but yeah, I definitely at this point I don't like. I don't know. I've taken photos. I make videos here and there, but it's kind of like a personal thing. But I do have like a bunch of different just videos from me and my friends that are either unpublished or I'll just like put them out low key. But yeah, we're usually getting after it in the Sierra Nevada in California, like in the winter we ski or like do mountaineering, and then in the summer you basically hike and rock climb or go trail running or those kind of things. So we just go super deep in. But yeah, it's kind of like a little bit addictive like kendama, but also it's now that I'm older, you can do like a couple things a quarter, or like if you get out once or twice a month, it's solid. But you definitely have to maintain some fitness and maintain some like ability if you're putting yourself out there on these more advanced
like
okay,
bro.
Feet or, getting up to like 12, 13, 14,000 feet. It can.
You're ripped, dude. You stay being ripped because you can't go out there. I've been out there with you. You can't be out there and be questioning if you're strong enough to be doing what you're doing because you're not just going up a rope's length. Like you're pitching 5-10 times to get to the top of a very tall mountain. You've taken me on my only multi-pitch stuff, my only stuff that I've like ever felt like I was going to literally die. Like I've only had those experiences at your hands, and I thank you because they're some of my greatest memories. And Colin's not lying when he probably has like 50 hard drives that you guys would just die seeing because they're full of some of the most amazing photos and videos of this dude is like been in California, and it's inspiring.
I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to get better about like publishing and like showcasing some of this. And I have some really cool like 360 ski footy from last year and a bunch of different like sort of like archival style 35 millimeter film.
Dude, you could set up
some of the stuff I've shot up there is coming out in some like more obscure like documentaries and stuff about the Sierra, and I am developing a couple different like climbing centric film projects.
Dope.
So I think there will be some crossover with that eventually. But yeah, we had some hilarious days, and definitely I mean me, you, and Norcross going into airplane mode.
I mean, yeah, we had to talk. I had to talk. So the only time Colin didn't talk me into something is when we were one pitch up off the ground and we had 3 more to go. And we're with Max, who doesn't climb and is afraid of heights. And I struggled on the first pitch, and I'm a climber. And I said, Colin, we cannot go up 3 more pitches with Max. Like, it is hard enough with 2. With Max, we'll die. And Colin's like, no, dude, we got it. Like, it took me 30, 45 minutes to sit on the ledge being like, dude, this is really a bad idea. Before Colin finally gave up and was like, all right, we'll go down and we'll just hike, I guess. Like, but I remember it.
You gotta know when to bail, and it's definitely can keep you safer. And especially like when I was first learning, party of 2 is much more feasible than party of 3. You all have to be really dialed if it's a party of 3, and it can work for like certain stuff. But yeah, that was hilarious. And definitely you can always go down or you can always bail. I don't want anyone to get hurt. When you're first learning, there's a lot of like, oh, we can totally do this. Then you get like halfway up and you're like, oh wait, where are we going? Or like, let's call it, and then you go back, get some more information, and
what was that route? What was that mountain called again?
I feel like it was Finger Trick.
It was.
And you had already climbed it, right? But we were gonna bring next year.
Opposite.
Which one did we climb?
Finger Trip is the one we climbed, but you took us to Finger Trip, me and Max, as our first time there ever, and then we went up the one pitch, and I was like, no, we're not doing this. And then, but
I think a few.
Me as the climber was like, I wanted to go up the next 3, so for the next year I trained, and then came.
Then you came back.
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
And you made me lead the last pitch, and I had to inchworm up the slab like 25 feet without rope safety or some shit to like connect in, and that was when I thought I was gonna die. I couldn't hear Colin. He had to get up the mountain still, and I couldn't hear him, and we were working with rope pulls to like tell each other that we were okay and stuff. Literally the most insane, one of the most insane days of my life.
I forgot that I made you take that last pitch, because it basically turns blank, and there's like one bolt, and then you basically have to lizard up something with no holes, like for like 20-30 feet. So I wanted Sweets to have that experience, and I knew he would like figure it out, because you had climbed in the gym, and you pushed through. But yeah, it's whenever you can't hear each other, or there's a little bit of wind, or like the cliff goes over and you're around a corner, it can be unnerving. But like, it's kind of like fishing, where like you need to feel what's happening on the end of your line, but you don't want to like overreact or like.
Yeah, because he could have pulled me off, like thinking I was pulling or something. Like thinking that I like reliving it, because I relived it this last day, being like, man, I can't believe I actually did that. But then like, those are the things that make you feel alive, though, right? Like at the same exact point, I've never felt more alive.
I got invited to an awesome little like stop. You know, the Coosa team was going around the Pacific Northwest, and I think it was for Van Jam, and I met up after with Jeremy this summer, and we went and did a couple really cool climbs in Squamish, just me and Jeremy, and then we drove down to like the North Cascades and did another multi-pitch climb in Washington. And I have like a cool little video from that coming out that's kind of just like a me and Jeremy personal video.
Nice.
But I definitely love climbing with like the Kendama community, and like I've climbed with Haley a bunch, and like I took Thorkild up Finger Trip, so he's been up it.
Nice.
You know, me and Ballard's been on a couple peaks with me. So, you know, I try to get people to get a taste of it if they're visiting, or, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, it worked, bro. You created memories I'll never forget in more ways than one, dude. And I could literally talk to you all day. That's the Dama. I mean, that's the most recent video you made. That is
the most recent mega send.
I mean, we've watched it on the channel obviously a couple times, but I mean, any words about that? I mean, the story of it is crazy, getting stuck on the mountain and like not being able to leave, and like you were really in a tough spot, it seemed like, for a day or two on that trip, and you made it not seem that way in the video, but maybe real life Colin was struggling for a day
the video is sort of like the polished version. There were intense moments and definitely some learning experiences, but yeah, it was I kind of knew I wanted to go to Denali just because of my skiing and mountaineering stuff eventually, and then I just thought it'd be super fun to tie in a Kendama element. I knew Jeremy would be stoked on it, and just thought it'd be a cool way to like create some like cultural momentum with it, or just crossover with like the climbing and Kendama. And yeah, that trip was super crazy, but I like trained and got super prepared for it, and Denali was like a super serious thing, but I lucked out with the weather in that like it was basically sunny, you know, wasn't like crazy cold. But I was stoked that I was able to like get to the top and jam, and even I was not even sure if my phone would work up there.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like -10, -20 Fahrenheit.
Jeez.
But like sunny, so it ended up working. But yeah, that was super crazy. But this will be I think this might be part of the giveaway.
Oh, let's go, dude. I didn't tell chat, so that I would love it if someone in chat, one of our subscribers, could win that.
Yeah, and if chat, you know, we can keep this tight, and if there's any stuff anyone else wants to cover in the chat, you know, before me and Sweets just go deep for like hours, you know, we can keep things rolling for a bit.
No,
But
let's see if Chad has any questions for us real quick. That'd be dope to see what's good. Because I told them to hold all questions till the end, dude.
Yeah.
Because, I'm not the only one who wishes they could ask Colin a question about something, dude.
But yeah, okay, so other adventure stuff that's coming up too, I'm trying to do like a cool link up of a bunch of different 14,000 foot peaks in California in the winter, similar style where I'll like be pulling a sled and like camping out day after day. So we haven't got that much snow this year yet, so it's kind of if the range doesn't get covered in snow, it's just one of those things that it's like maybe next year.
Word.
But I've actually been getting a lot more into like trail running and like endurance running.
Oh.
And I have a 50-mile race coming up in 3 weeks.
Oh my God.
Which is my first 50-mile race. So I've done a few like trail marathons and 50K, which is like 30 some miles. And I know some of the Dama people jog a little bit here and there and and like running can be super good and beneficial for just like mental health, leg strength, everything. But you can also just go way overboard.
Deteriorate with it, like your muscles.
Yeah. So 50 miles is kind of nutty, but like basically, yeah, I have a 50-mile race that I've been training for. I'm not trying to like place or be in like the top 10. I'm just trying to like finish, but like,
yeah,
even that will be cool. It'll probably end up being like an 11 to 12 hour trail.
Oh,
for like, yeah.
Do you stop?
Pretty psychedelic vibe. Yeah. So they have aid stations like every like 6 to 8 miles or something, so you can stop, take a break, but you don't want to stop too long, or you could like cramp up.
Yeah. You're on that David Goggins tip. Holy.
Basically.
Yeah. Jeez, dude. Oh my God. Oh, Jay Boogs asked, do you lick the bevel?
Always.
Do you glue the spike of your Dama?
It depends on the Dama. If there's a paint that I really want to preserve, then a lot of the times I don't. If there's something that's specifically like a jumping stick Dama, or like something that's going to be an aerials Dama or really take a beating, I'll glue it. I would say I'm like 50-50. I do a lot of gluing, but I don't exclusively glue, but like this is the Cascade, which is the like slightly longer Kusa model, and this like that's glued.
Yeah, because I've known you to be a gluer. Like you were always 100%
gluer.
Yeah. But hey, when you don't got time for that anymore. Oh, what is that? A marble? Sheesh.
This could be part of the giveaway too, I was thinking,
because
it's sweet.
God. Yeah, that was, I think, a collab we did with Kusa. It was a Kusa marble we made for them. I'm almost positive. That's insane. Yep. That's on Ash too. Holy.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought this would be a fun giveaway for the sweets side of the family. I'm just gonna give you the Tama. But, it's pretty honed. It's a pretty good Tama.
Dang, that's sick, dude. I could put it on a Ken. I could put it on a new Sweets Legend Ken, dude. That's
if you need to win this for interviewing me, that's fine. You can just have
it. I'll have it sent my way, and then someone will get something else completely different. No. Don Dama asks, will we ever see the retirement edit you filmed in Pittsburgh with Jordan Turner?
Okay, so that was actually filmed in California, but I think we brought that up on Dama Nerds, and I thought I gave them a link to it. So yeah, this is kind of circling back to you saying, like, when did you realize it was time to kind of like evolve into different elements of your life? And me and Zach Yord and Turner Thorne actually filmed a cool like retirement edit. And this was like maybe 1 or 2 seasons before the Sweets Legends team came out, and we were like trying to come up with a name for it. And I think we, made this edit, whatever, but like, it's a pretty cool edit. I think the link is in, maybe it's only if you're a Patreon person on Dama Nerds or something, but I could probably just share it in the chat. But it's a pretty cool edit where we sort of announce our retirement and like lay down some tricks, and it's really fun. But then there was like a music rights issue with it going onto YouTube, and I was busy, and I was like, oh, I don't want to like re-edit to another song.
Yeah.
And then we kind of just like never dropped it. And you know how those things happen. And then it was like, oh, whatever. But like, we're still playing. We still have fun with it and stuff. But we should just like drop that edit at some point. It's a pretty cool edit. I think it might be in let me look in my email right now, because
You guys are so on to your next parts, so it's like it doesn't affect anything one way or another.
It's still fun to watch. It's like a pretty cool little edit. So,
well, dude, Yord's on your tip too. You see, he's trying to do all the peaks in Colorado and stuff that spell his name or whatever. He's got a YouTube channel where he's trying to document all his.
He's crushing it with his
peak
snowboarding. Goal. He's very talented. Okay, I just dropped the link.
Dang.
To this obscure retirement edit. Now this was like unfinished. There was still like we didn't finish with the titles and whatever, but I just dropped the link in the Twitch so people can watch that later.
Yeah, okay, word.
Unless you can watch it at the end of the stream or something, but
no, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, another question. Are you going to battle at the border in Nashville in a few weeks?
I am not going to battle at the border, in part because my race is on the same weekend.
Oh.
But
we'll be wishing you luck then.
Hopefully I can come to some other events and, either be a freestyle judge or just hang out and, help people film or just come hang with the community.
Come to Europe this summer. That'll be fun.
That'll be epic.
Dude, they found Martin found an old Kusa video where you climbed in West Virginia. What did you think? Martin's from West Virginia.
I wonder which one you're talking about. I don't know if I have a vid from there or maybe it's Seneca. One of the first places I ever climbed was in West Virginia. West Virginia is super beautiful. It's definitely like underrated.
Yeah.
If you're into like the outdoors and like people kind of like poke fun of it, but they don't really understand that like if you're like a kayaker, a rock climber, doing trail running, biking, whatever, the cities are all like very small. It's very quiet, but there's some incredible nature down there. And definitely, I don't know if I'm trying to think of which video from West Virginia we put out. Maybe it was just like some raw footage, but there's this place called Seneca Rocks. Like West Virginia has a bunch of climbing, a bunch of bouldering, and it's a freaking awesome state. I've definitely like thrown out to my wife, like, we could just move to West Virginia. Like it's like,
no. Jay Stees wants to know, do you still rollerblade?
Yes, definitely. I keep it pretty chill. And since I've been like training for running, I haven't really bladed much because it can be a little different on your knees. And I've definitely gotten some knee tweaks because I like skate so aggressively.
Yeah.
But, an OG Dama homie, Miles Gibson, OG Sweets, he kind of like got back into blading like 5 or 6 years ago, and he lives in LA or Southern California. So me and him skate together a decent amount, and I probably get out, every other month or something. But nice. If someone's like, "Oh, can we go to the skate park?" Like I can ride at a skate park. I'll drop in and dink around, but like, because I'm so focused on my like climbing and skiing and stuff, I'm very much like, I don't want to crash. It's just like not worth it at this point. But
definitely,
I feel like I'm also fit, so I am like more durable. But I'm not gonna like go out street skating and like go do a handrail or something. But I'll like hit the skate park and like do like laps around my neighborhood and just like jump off curb cuts and stuff.
Yeah, just mess around, have some fun, dude. Your POV fixed gear biking stuff in LA is some of my favorite stuff to watch too. That stuff's bananas.
Yeah, we're still riding bikes a lot. Actually, my older brother just made a film that was like a true story, that was a bicycling story, and it's actually like coming out in certain theaters on April 5th.
Oh,
it's
cool.
called Hard Miles. And in the process of my brother like co-writing and producing this like biking film, we started doing a lot more road biking. So it's still super fun, but I don't do as gnarly of like the commuter like shredder stuff that I was doing like around that era. But I actually broke my collarbone on a bike in like 2014 or something. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. You see the scar still.
Yeah, that's absolutely
graphic, but
dude. All right, we got a couple more questions. If you got, are you there still?
Yeah, keep them coming.
Okay. Lil Sebi says, "What's your favorite trick? Kendama trick?"
Oh, jeez. I mean, probably it's probably has to be J-stick or lighthouse flip. I mean,
yeah. Stick with
like
what you.
some variation of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess so that means I'm kind of like a Tama. Like I was always kind of like a Tama holding guy.
Yeah. Agreed. I like stalls. That's like my favorite thing about Dama is being able to stall stuff. Nick wants to know, well, we kind of touched upon this, is like, what do you think about the switch from kids in the U.S. that used to play being kids to now being 20-year-olds plus? Like, we kind of talked about the vibe switch, right? Like, it's not kids at a park anymore. It's kids on the internet who are a little bit older who hopefully influence the younger ones, but I feel like that's something we touched on.
Yeah, I definitely think some of the best talent is always going to be the younger people that have enough time to like really just get super honed and be competitive at that like KWC level.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's definitely a place for like those seasoned veteran pros, like whether it's the Gallaghers or whomever that stays for 5, 6, 7, 8 years and really like commits to it.
Mm-hmm.
That is kind of a different style of bringing things to the community than just your performance at the contest or what have you.
Yeah, for sure. Inward loon or regular loon? Booyakasha asks.
I mean, probably reggie, just because I'm so bad at inwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, my regular is reggie.
Yeah. Okay. What's your favorite spot to session Pittsburgh?
Oh, Pittsburgh. I go to this spot called Grandview Park, and it basically has a view of the city. It's low key. No one like cares if you're filming there. There's like concrete, there's grass, a lot of options. It's not super windy. So yeah, I usually go to this place called Grandview Park. It's like up on Mount Washington.
Dope.
There was like a famous skate photo taken there by One Up Skate Shop where it's like a skateboarder doing like a backside flip on top of this like metal roof. And I think it was when we dropped Edit 8, we took a photo of the three of us up on this roof and it became this like iconic silhouette photo. Yeah. It sort of looks like the like evolution of man from like ape to man.
Yeah, it's iconic, bro. It's iconic. That thumbnail is in my head. That's so sick.
Yeah. Don't climb up on the roof though. That was illegal. Yeah. It was like an 11-foot drop to get off the roof. We were like standing on each other's shoulders to get on the roof.
Dang.
And,
fully sketched.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Dude says I first learned that Kendama pros were a thing from walking around Pittsburgh with my Sweets Prime radar with people asking me, "Do you know Colin Sander?" Someone wants to know, what was the name of that Japanese website you said in the beginning?
Okay, so it was called supertricks.jp. I think it's gone now, but the way you used to get to it was there was like a link on the old JKA website that said JKA website painting contest or something. There was like a Kendama painting contest. And I just remember back in the day, I would just Google like JKA Kendama painting contest. And it would like bring up this JKA page that you would click into. And then like somewhere in the bottom, it was like, see tricks here. And it was like supertricks.jp.
Okay, word.
So it's gone. It's gone. Yeah. There's no way it's still there.
The nerds are trying to pull it from the depths.
Yeah, you can try to find it, but it's maybe if you use like the Wayback Machine or something, like some sort of internet browser rebuilder. I don't know.
I think we'll send you the link if we find it. I'm sure they'll. All right. Of all the kendamas you've had played, WB asks, if you had to pick two, what is your favorite based on pure aesthetics, and what is your favorite based on playability / fun factor? So which one that you love how it looks and one that you love how it plays?
I feel like pure aesthetics probably would have had to been either that earth blue Mugen Muso or that like 10 wood Tama Muso that he did. I don't know if that was a 10-year anniversary.
It was a gift. No, it was a gift for all the foreigners who came to the first KWC.
Yeah, so probably those two on pure aesthetics, and then playability. I mean, I think the most recent Kusa shapes are the Jet shape and the Luna shape, and basically, any of the different companies, all the updated shapes, whatever's newest usually is just like the most fire. So playability is just like anything made within the last 24 months.
Yeah.
They just dominate like everything we used to have.
It's really not even close.
And I keep thinking, I'd probably say like, you know, Kusa, like, you know, Kusa Luna in Maple or something.
Yeah. Oh, such a Dama question. Not a question, Don Dama says, but I was unknowingly obsessed with Colin's beer pong trick video way before I ever found Kendama. That's crazy.
That is a trippy wormhole. That not many people will know that one, but yeah, we did have like a weird viral like beer pong trick shots video. I mean, that was like
you got on Chive or some shit, like. Oh my gosh!
That's props to that person for making that connection.
That was Austin Donovan.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Ken to Alex, have you ever been to Amsterdam? Have you ever been to the Netherlands?
I think he's just trolling me.
Yeah, he's goading you. He's goading you super hard.
I'll make it over to Europe at some point, but you know, it's just there's so much good stuff going on in California. It's hard to leave, but you know, I will make it to Amsterdam at some point. My wife has been there.
Yeah.
And it's a cool city. It's definitely, you know, a place worth visiting.
Yeah, 100%. Cody says, "Can we talk about Dean Slater?" LMAO. Is that the movie you and Cheech did?
Yeah, we did Dean Slater, Resident Advisor. It was this film starring Mitch Jarvis, who was this guy from Rock of Ages, this like Broadway play, and he's just this funny comedian guy. We made a college comedy like a couple years after I got out of college, and yeah, if people haven't seen it, there is some kendama in the movie, and it's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, it was. You guys tried to push it.
Now they have, you know, and now we're hoping to make some other feature films too. That was kind of just as we were getting into learning that whole business model and stuff. But now, like, my brother's film is coming out in some theaters. It'll probably be in Minnesota.
Yeah,
on April 5th, and it like their lead is this guy Matthew Modine that's from Stranger Things and a bunch of older films.
Cool.
But yeah, they're, you know, we're still making movies, but yeah, Dean Slater, legendary character.
Dope. Very dope. Okay, guys, I'm sorry I'm skipping some just because I thought I talked about it or whatever. What was the one I just missed? I had one that was good. Now I've lost it. What was the trick that you've landed that got you the most hype? Like, what's your trick that you like, holy F, I can't believe I did that?
Well, one that was kind of the opposite of that, I will say, was, and when I kind of almost was ready to like take a bit of a retirement, was I was trying for Trip Lunar Tray, and I was using the Mugen Muso Earth Blue, and like the balance wasn't just right, whatever. I tried for weeks to get a POV of a trip tray, and I was so close, and like it kind of just like broke me eventually, and I think it was just the wrong setup, and I had tried on other setups, but like, of course now it's doable. And I don't know if it was Nick, Zach, someone posted like a quint the other couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I did the trip tray just the other day inward for my legend edit, bro. It broke me. Like, I literally quit filming because I was so sick of trying it. And then I did it, and now I've done crazy tricks, bro, in the last few weeks because it unlocked that dam of like, you can't do this. It's so crazy.
Yeah, but basically, probably favorite tricks, anything that were like my ender tricks for like edit 3, edit 4, 5, 6, 7. I would always just have like an ender trick, and usually like I never had to grind crazy hard because usually I'd be like, you know, building up the ability. But yeah. I don't know, any of the enders.
Word.
Maybe a dub tray from Mugen's in the House or something.
Yes, you know. That's what I think. That's what I thought initially that you would say, just because that, even for the time, that was still a really hard trick. When you were doing that POV stuff, that was still not an easy trick at that point. Right. So
it is now easy, fam.
It is, just so we're clear. Last week,
tray flip didn't even exist like 8 years ago. Now it's like dub tray flip's like, oh yeah.
I literally just said dub tray flip was easy. I last week in my stream I did dub tray, dub laser, inward tray, inward laser, double of all of them on my last live stream. So it's like but they're tricks, dude, I never thought I could do, or never did I just go and I'm gonna do a double laser today. But because of that freaking app, bro, I've been just trying to knock these tricks off that I haven't done just to say I've done them and get these points. And it's been like helpful in my own Dama life, like actually a ton, because now I think other tricks that aren't even on that list are super doable just from the confidence that I have. So I think once you're done trail running, you need to give your legs a break, bro, and just start squatting some Dama again, dude. Okay.
Well, I will say, like, from part of the reason why I stopped playing too was I started getting some knee pain, and I was just getting creaky, and then I got into sort of like the weightlifting and the training, and my legs are like so much stronger now. So coming back to Dama is more fun because I'm like, oh, I'm actually totally fine to like session for 20 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour.
Yeah.
But I was at the end of sort of my pro era. I definitely was getting like some knee bang, and it's just, you have to supplement. I do a lot of different activities and stuff, but even if you are playing Dama a ton, doing some like yoga, some foam rolling, building up different muscle groups is probably a good idea. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's super crucial. Like my legs hurt I've been playing Kendama 3 hours a week on stream for the last month now. And the first 2 weeks I hurt really bad, but now I like don't hurt, bro. I just went snowboarding and I didn't hurt. Yep. And I think it's because I've been jamming Dama to a point that I'm like strengthening again instead of like somehow it was the other way.
You kind of have to break through. And it's been cool seeing like, I know like, Zach Gallagher has gotten really into like the whole training thing, and like he's freaking jacked, and like I definitely did a lot of different leg workouts and weight training before Denali, and then kind of after I was like, oh, I'm already like fit, I should just keep doing this. So I love doing like kettlebell free weights, or even just doing push-ups, pull-ups, like any of that stuff. If you stick with a little bit of a regimen, or for Dama players, like some lower body flexibility, it makes a big difference for sure.
Yeah. Dude, I could talk to you all day. I could talk to you all afternoon, but I think we've taken up enough of your time. So I appreciate you joining us today, man. We talked about lots of different stuff, the beginning, the current, the in-betweens, and I just want to sincerely say thanks, for being my homie and for, doing what you did for Kendama at the beginning, because you inspired me and a lot of other people to grind and to create what we have today. So there's a lot of people to thank, but for me, you're top of that list, brother. So I appreciate you a lot.
Thank you so much, Matt. Yeah, it's always fun catching up, and definitely seeing where everyone has taken the community, just, at people like you, where it's at the company level and you're making things happen, to just all the different pro players and everyone that's hosting contests and everyone that's just in that core community supporting and buying or creating art or creating edits and stuff. It's definitely amazing that the whole ecosystem is kind of like survived in a more permanent state. And yeah, much appreciation to everyone out there just grinding, having fun with it, and keeping this awesome community alive.
Thank you very much, dude, for joining us. We'll be expecting that triple tray here soon on Instagram. But we do thank you for those giveaways, too. We'll be giving away your Denali mod and that Tama if you're down with it. We'll give away both those things on the stream to a couple of subs from today. So thank you guys. If you guys watch this whole video, thank you so much. Huge thanks to Colin, and tune into the Twitch live stream so you can win all this cool stuff with all the interviews each and every week. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Later on.
Love you guys.